Hello, everyone. I'm Stephen Lewis, the husband of Kashia Lewis, and I come to you today to chat a little bit about our pending divorce. So, my wife and I have known each other for a very long time. We have been a part of each other's lives at one point or another for well over 30 years. And that's a long time to know someone. That's a long time to be a part of someone's life, to know them, to fill them out and just be a part of who they are. And for me, it has been a true blessing to have her have been a part of my life. And I tell her all the time that part of why I believe I never found happiness to the level that I found it with her was because she held a special spot in my heart that no one else could really live up to. And for her, I don't know what that meant for her or how she received that, but that's how I felt 30-something years ago as a teenager, meeting her for the first time, and, then eventually dating her. That's how I felt in my 20s when we reconnected again. That's how I felt in my 30s when we reconnected for the final time and became husband and wife. That's how I feel still today. Sharice is someone that just makes me feel a certain kind of way. No other person, not my family, not my friends, not other relationships have ever made me feel the way that she makes me feel. And, it saddens me that we've come to this point in our relationship that, we had to proceed to process a divorce, from a relationship that I've waited my entire life for. But at the same time, I've always told myself I'm never going to be one that forces a situation or forces someone to be in a situation that they're not comfortable being in. And for her, she got to a point that she felt I wasn't reciprocating the feelings in the marriage or the emotions in the marriage that she needed to stay in the marriage. And I get that. My entire life, I've always had issues with that part of, who I am as a person, as a man, as a black man. It's just been really difficult for me to emote my feelings a lot of times, and because of that, it has caused these adverse situations and adverse relationships where, they started out one way and they ended a whole nother, just because my level of connectivity to emotions is minimal. I'm doing something now for the first time in my life that I never ever have done before. I am seeking counseling to try and help me, walk through my life a little bit and figure out why it is that it's difficult for me to connect to people emotionally or to feel empathy or sympathy for people when they're going through whatever their situations are. And I found myself doing that a lot in my marriage, where things that were important to my wife and things that were emotionally, important to her and that she held to high esteem for a relationship were not for me. I was dismissive of those things. I was, I really treated them as minor things or petty or small or, and something as simple as, running over and giving her a hug when she's feeling emotional. If I didn't connect to the emotional thing, then I didn't feel a need to run over to comfort her when she did connect to that emotional thing. So stuff like that, and that has happened throughout my entire life, not only just with her, but with my kids and with family members. I just have never been that person and never been that guy. And I had a lot of stuff happen to me in my life. Grew up poor, the youngest of 6 kids, single mom, handicapped, not really having much, starting to work at a young age, started work at 8 years old, and have not been without a job since then. Had to support the household at 8 years old. When I should have been a kid, I was being a man. when I should have been a kid learning how to develop these emotions and how to deal with emotions, I was being a man. And just going through my counseling and talking through some of that, that has opened my eyes to why I feel as though it's hard for me to connect with people on that level. Not to say that I don't have any emotions, it's just really, really hard for me to connect on a deeper level of instantaneous reaction to emotions. Sometimes it takes a while for it to hit me, you know, or for me to even realize, oh wow, that really made them upset. And by the time that happens, it's too late. It's too late to console them. It's too late to show concern in that moment, because now it went from, you know, them being upset about something emotionally to now them being upset about me personally because I didn't attend to their needs like they needed me to, or, you know, or like they've always wished a man would. And I consider myself a really good man. I provide for my family. I work hard. You know, I try to be there as well as I know how. And even still, in spite of all of that, I don't always reach the goal. I don't always achieve everything that they want me to achieve as far as relationship-wise. And I think a lot of that has to do with my background. A lot of it has to do with how I was brought up, how I was raised, and, you know, not really having a father figure other than my grandfather. And at that time, he was generations ahead. So, of course, he's teaching me things from his generation that, you know, I need something that's a little bit more current to help me get through life. And not to say that the stuff he taught me didn't work, it did, but, you know, it was behind the times. And I kind of do the same things now with my kids, where they be like, Dad, you know, like, nah, that's too old fashioned. You know, we can't do things like that anymore, and this, that, and the other. So being that person, you know, has caused me some heartache in my life. And the ultimate heartache is what I'm going through right now. I've been divorced before, but with that divorce, that was something that was expected. That was something that was that was something that was truly needed. I think that I married way too young. I was on a whole nother path from where my first wife was, you know, and we just never ever gelled on that level. Whereas there were times, and there have been times throughout my marriage now where, you know, we were connected on certain things, and, you know, support level for different things has been there, but not at the level that my wife wanted. And that bothers me, because I feel like a failure at times, because I wasn't able to be that it for her like she was for me. I wasn't able to be that 100%, you know, backbone for her the way she needed it to be, like she was for me. And not to say that she didn't have her challenges and her issues as it applied to me, she did, but I didn't grade her as hard on those issues, or I didn't judge her as hard on her issues as I feel I was being judged on my issues, even though she has tried throughout the marriage to help with those issues or make me aware of those issues. But sometimes it's one of those things where when you go through life with blinders on, sometimes you have to run off the edge of the cliff before you open your eyes to realize, oh my God, you know, what am I doing? And this is that moment for me. I've never, ever, ever, ever even had a thought in my mind that I would be sitting here right now making a video about going through a divorce with a woman that I cherish, a woman that I love. But it does no good for me to cherish her and love her the way I think I should be doing it. You know, when you're in a relationship, it's a two-way street. So yes, I can do some of what I should be doing, but yes, I also should take into consideration what it is that she likes, and vice versa. So that's the piece that I really carry guilt about. You know, I'm just going through it. Just going through it because I really didn't want the divorce, but because I didn't want to force nothing. I didn't want it to be bitter, angry, fighting, cussing, and all that stuff. So I agreed to the divorce. I gave everything that she asked in the divorce. so that there can be no other reasoning, for her to look at me in a different light like she does now. Um, that makes me feel really sad. Makes me feel really sad that I couldn't be that for her. Um, and I just think a lot about how, had I done this 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 1 year ago, 10 years ago, where would our marriage be now? Where would we be now as a couple? Where would our well-being be now? Um, it's hard. It's hard to think back on your failures in life and try to figure out, where did I go wrong? Or if everything. That's not a way to live, or force yourself to do something that you know is making you unhappy. That's not a way to live. I wouldn't want to wish that on my worst enemy. But we're human. Things happen, situations happen, and life happens. And sometimes we can't control the things that mold us and shape us into being the adults and the human beings and the individuals we are today. Sometimes we're just a product of our environment. In my environment, growing up as a kid, there was love there, but not the type of love that I needed. Not the type of love that, you saw on television, or you saw with families that had means. You didn't see that type of love in my household. It was just a unspoken thing. It was a felt thing where you just knew that that person cared for you, but sometimes you need more than that when you're a kid. You need to have those actionable things happen. Those hugs, those kisses, that showering of affection. And the way I grew up, where I come from, the affection that I remember was when you screwed up and you got the hell beat out of you because you weren't doing what you were told or asked. Or, you were sassing or talking back. And I remember those emotions of anger, fear, disgust. Why me? This person loves me. Why are they beating me like this? This person loves me. Why am I being disciplined this way? And my mom tried her best. I don't fault her for any of it, I was raised by my brothers and sisters as well as my mom. And I think that there was some resentment there. They used to beat my ass all the time as well. So I don't know. I don't know how much that affected me and made me this man I am today. But what I do know is I will not live the next part of my life the way I lived the first part of my life. I'm taking steps to make sure that I'm better. I'm taking steps so that I can be that father for my kids, right? That person that they look up to 150%, not 70% because part of the time I'm this and the other part I'm just a monster in their eyes. I don't ever want my children to be afraid of me or be afraid of what I might say or what I might do because I can't connect to them emotionally and what they're going through in their moment. Social media is a monster. I'm not on social media. I'll never be on social media. I will not. I refuse to. It is part of the reason why this generation is struggling. You have all this suicide and all this craziness going on, and I will not be a part of that. But I will not be a parent, too, that forces my children to do something that they don't want to do. I restrict them. I monitor, their level of access. But at the same time, I can't fault them because that's their generation, and that's what their generation does. This is the big social media boom. I don't like it, never have, never will. It was a blessing for me to use it at one point. I had a Facebook, and that's how I met back up with Sharice. But once I did that, I shut it down. I didn't even use it. I didn't even know what the heck was going on when I got a message from her on Facebook, while I was paying bills saying, hey, reaching out. And we sent 7 messages, and after those 7 messages, I closed down my account, shut it down, and have not activated it since then. That was 12 years ago. Prior to that, I only had it for about 2 years. I believe it's the devil's playground. You have more bad out there than you have good, and I refuse to be a part of that. I already got my own issues. I don't need, the outer world influencing those issues even more, one way or the other, for the good or for the bad. I walk my own journey, the way I was meant to walk it. And I just wanted to make this video to just say it's hard. It's hard when you love somebody and have loved somebody for many, many, many years. And you finally get that opportunity to be connected as one and be a couple and be married and start something. And then it comes to an end. It hits a brick wall. It can go no further. That's difficult. It's hard. It's really hard. Because I still love the woman to death, but it can't be a one-way street. I'll still support her. I'll still be there for her. And she will forever be indebted in my heart. And I told her that until I'm covered with the dirt, that'll never change. But what will change is me. I have to. I have to be there for my babies. I have to be there for other people that may need me as we go through this journey of this thing we call life. So I'm looking forward to that challenge. It's going to be interesting to see how things shake out when it's all said and done. And I wish her well. I'll always support her. I'll always be there for her, however I can. And hopefully I'm better. Hopefully I'm better at the end of the road. I'm a better man. I'm a better person, a better father, better boss, So I just wanted to come and chat with you guys for a little bit. This video is going on almost 18 minutes, and I'm not a big social media person, video person. It's pretty long for me. I just want to say I appreciate you guys taking time to listen to this and allowing me an opportunity to share this with you and share my thoughts behind, my situation. And hopefully it helps somebody out there. Hopefully it helps that man that's out there dealing with the same things I've dealt with and struggling in their marriage and not realize that the struggle is real. Taking it for granted. I did that a lot. Took my wife for granted. Now I'm a single father dealing with these kids and dealing with this house and dealing with all this stuff. I don't know how in the hell she did it. I took her for granted. It's stuff that I defaulted to her about, where now I'm that point person. I got to figure it out. I got to figure out how to make it happen. I got to call her up. Hey, how did you deal with this? Or what did you do for that? That's a hard job. And still hold the whole house down with the shopping and the bills and, everything the kids need, clothes, soap, deodorant, personables, all that stuff. I'm that guy now. I no longer have anyone that I can take, for granted. It's all me. And I see a different side of how I failed this marriage. Yeah, there was room for opportunities that I never took advantage of. And I see that now, just handling the whole house by myself. And I can really appreciate what my wife brought to the table, And we're not going to get into all the stuff she did or whatever. She shared all that stuff with you guys. I'm not getting into all of that pity patter back and forth. Just know that we both had fault. And at the end of the day, it's up to each individual to own their fault and own their issues and own their part. Work on it and be better. And with that, I bid you guys farewell. And once again, I thank you. I appreciate, this opportunity. And this will probably be my only time that you guys will see me on social media posting anything for myself. Well, I even won't post this. I'm going to give it to her to post. But this will probably be my first and only time that this happens. But never say never. You never know. Peace. Have a good one.